Prominent American politician Tulsi Gabbard has been the focus of controversy because of her contentious presidential campaign and opinions on foreign policy. But her tale is just as interesting and nuanced as that of her first husband Eduardo, and their union. Recently, Gabbard revealed the most personal details of her previous marriage when she disclosed the reasons behind her divorce. She has remained silent to prevent the rumors that have been going around about her and Eduardo getting divorced. It is vital to talk about how they met at age 21 and their relationship before getting into the reasons behind their divorce. In 2002, Gabbard and Eduardo Tamayo tied the knot, but their union did not last long. As part of her duty to the Hawaii Army National Guard, Gabbard was sent to Iraq in 2004, a move that had a big effect on their partnership and personal lives. Their marriage suffered throughout the 18-month deployment to Iraq because of the hazards and demands of being in a combat zone. Their commitment to their marriage and their allegiance to their country began to clash in their day-to-day lives. Gabbard's time in Iraq profoundly shaped her political views in addition to her personal circumstances. She set herself apart from many of her Democratic colleagues by becoming an outspoken opponent of unnecessary and destructive military wars. Her unique position within American political discourse was defined by her lived experiences, not by abstract political ideals that set her apart from many Democratic counterparts. Gabbard was a member of the Hawaii Army National Guard, the 351st Civil Affairs Command, Kuwait, and other military groups. After redistricting in 2002, she was elevated to the rank of lieutenant colonel and secured a 43% majority in the Democratic primary for Hawaii's 42nd House District. She created history by becoming the youngest woman to serve in a U.S. state legislature at the time and the youngest legislator ever elected in Hawaii. While in office, Gabbard mobilized support for the federal marriage amendment by vehemently opposing a state bill that sought to establish same-sex civil unions. Although she chose to enlist in the Army National Guard in Iraq, she nonetheless filed to run for office again in 2004. In August 2004, Gabbard's opponent, Rita Cabanilla, encouraged her to resign because she would be unable to represent her constituency from abroad. After Gabbard declared she would not be running for a second term, Cabanilla secured 58% of the votes and won the Democratic primary. 2009 saw Gabbard return from her second tour in the Middle East and run for the Honolulu City Council. With 26.8% of the vote, she grabbed the lead and defeated Snidemuno with 49.5% of the vote in the runoff election. Gabbard was the first American woman who had served in combat to run for president in 2012. She presented Bill 54, which permitted municipal employees to remove personal belongings left on public property after providing the owner with a 24-hour notice, and she advocated for policies to promote food truck vendors. Early in 2011, this bill became City Ordinance 1129. After winning the U.S. Senate general election in 2012, Gabbard became the first Samoan American and Hindu member of Congress to cast a ballot. Additionally, she presented the Helping Heroes Fly Act, which aims to improve airport security protocols for veterans who have suffered catastrophic injuries. President Barack Obama signed the act into law after it had passed Congress. In 2015, Gabbard was unanimously chosen to lead the Democratic National Committee's vice chair position for 4 years. She opposed the decision to prohibit any contender from participating in future DNC-sanctioned debates if they had previously participated in a DNC-sanctioned debate and openly criticized Chairwoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz for restricting the number of debates during the 2016 Democratic Party presidential primaries. On February 28, 2016, Gabbard announced her resignation as the Democratic National Committee's vice chair in order to back Senator Bernie Sanders in his presidential campaign. Becoming the first female war veteran to run for president, Gabbard made history in February 2019 when she formally declared her candidacy for the 2020 presidential election. She made history by being the first Asian American and Pacific Islander candidate to win primary delegates, and the second woman of color to reach this milestone after Shirley Chisholm. After withdrawing from the 2020 race, Gabbard supported Joe Biden, the former vice president. Speaking out against the shortcomings of the current criminal justice system, Gabbard has supported the legalization of marijuana, the removal of cash bail, and the outlawing of private prisons. Her proposed legislation includes the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expunction More Act and the repeal of the Federal Marijuana Prohibition Act. The House version of the 2021 NDA would have allowed military forces members to utilize products containing CBD and other hemp derivatives, according to a June 2020 amendment that Gabbard presented. By a vote of 336 to 71, the law was approved as part of a bigger package. Gabbard argued that all narcotics should be legalized and regulated, citing Portugal's successful decriminalization of drugs as an example. She joined forces with Republicans to favor voting for Syrian and Iraqi refugees, and she supported tighter border controls. After a wave of Syrian refugees came to Germany, she proposed suspending the visa waiver program until the threat of terrorist attacks was reduced. Conversely, she has shown support for facilitating the naturalization process for undocumented immigrants, increasing immigration of skilled workers, and granting work permits to foreign nationals. She said she would think about building a border wall if experts said it was required. In 2016, Gabbard supported the Standing Rock Sioux tribe during protests against the Dakota Access Pipeline. She has been a vocal supporter of Native American rights and tribal lands. She succeeded in getting a change inserted into the National Defense Authorization Act that required the Department of Energy to re-evaluate the security of the Cold War-era nuclear waste site in the Marshall Islands, known as the Runit Dome. Although Gabbard has primarily advocated for the U.S. to reduce its military actions, she fully supports tough action against terrorism, especially when it comes to organizations like Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and Hamas. She has attacked the Obama administration for failing to recognize that the real threat to the United States is not radical Islam but rather Islamic extremism. Gabbard left on a week-long fact-finding trip to Syria and Lebanon on January 18, 2017, during which he visited with a range of religious and political leaders as well as common people impacted by the fighting. She expressed skepticism on claims made by the U.S. military that Assad had used chemical weapons against civilians in Kh Shan. Gabbard has continuously supported taking immediate action against terrorism, especially against Al-Qaeda, ISIS and Hamas, but he has also argued for a reduction in U.S. military interventionism. Additionally, she has aggressively backed her father's efforts to change Hawaii's constitution in order to limit marriage to straight couples. Tulsi Gabbard was active in a number of groups, such as the Healthy Hawaii Coalition, the Alliance for Traditional Marriage, and Stand Up for American Sufa. She worked with the Healthy Hawaii Coalition in 2002 as an educator, specializing in environmental protection in Hawaii. She graduated from Hawaii Pacific University in 2009 with a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with a concentration on international business. Following her divorce from Tu, Gabbard had to make the tough choice to end their marriage, which had been marked by significant challenges and protracted periods of separation. Disintegration of their union was mostly caused by the demands of military service. Gabbard, though, continued to see things positively, saying that Eddie and she are still friends and appreciative of the two family support. This strategy helped her in her political pursuits by demonstrating her capacity to manage personal challenges and cultivate relationships. Gabbard threw herself back into her political pursuits after her divorce. In 2002, she was elected to the Hawaii House of Representatives, becoming the youngest person in state legislature history. Her time in Iraq shaped her military training and distinctive perspective on foreign affairs. She made history in 2012 by being the youngest person to be elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, highlighting her commitment to veterans' issues during her military duty and her creative viewpoint on foreign policy as a vibrant, interesting woman of color with a military background. A freelance cinematographer who worked on Gabbard's 2012 congressional campaign, Abraham Williams, and Gabbard rekindled their love relationship in 2015. Their shared love of the great outdoors and surfing, which are essential to Hawaiian culture, strengthened their relationship. Gabbard's Hindu faith was symbolized by the traditional Vdik ceremony used to mark the couple's marriage. Numerous former allies and co-workers were unprepared for Gabbard's current political actions. She was formerly seen as a progressive member of the Democratic Party, but over time, she grew more and more removed from its ideals, finally quitting in 2022. Her challenges of mainstream Democratic ideas and the Democratic Party's handling of racial and gender issues, as well as its foreign policy, have been indicative of her evolving political perspective. So viewers, for the next update please subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.